All right, we're outside the new PurMinds facility. We're going to go in, do a tour, and have a nice sit-down interview with the management team. We have Janet Chi, the CEO, and we have Angelo Pizzuto, the COO. So let's get right into this, guys. All right, guys, I am here with Angelo Pizzuto, the COO of PurMinds, ticker PFSF. Hey, congratulations on the facility. We're here in the real facility.
Yes, you are.
It's a real company. Yep. I'm up here in Burlington, Ontario. So this is your first public appearance for PurMinds.
Correct.
Can you give us a little bit about your background and experience?
So my background and experience is a little interesting. I have 30 plus years in operational finance. Most of my career has been working with entrepreneurs and kind of either kind of a family office kind of structure, a lot of different industries, certainly a few years in marketing, a few years in the States for a couple of marketing companies, working for a large family office here in Toronto. I got to do the RFP for Niagara Falls Casino and set. So it's my fun little shtick story that I got to do that. Have done a REIT, the second REIT in Canada many, many years ago. About 10 years ago, started a corporate finance firm to really help entrepreneurs and small family offices really to kind of translate between the corporate world and kind of the family office entrepreneur world. They're slightly different in their thought process, and I felt that was really good in terms of translating between the two. During the pandemic, went back and did my MBA, and really from that realized that I wanted to continue to kind of grow in what I was trying to do. Met Janet a few years ago and saw the opportunity with PurMinds in terms of what she was trying to do, and I felt that I had all the skill set and tools to kind of support her in the journey and certainly the company in their journey.
Excellent. And by the way, guys, PurMinds has a YouTube channel, and if you haven't checked it out, please check it out. There's 4 videos on there now, very informative, so do some due diligence there. What you guys are trying to accomplish here is pretty remarkable. That being said, I want to ask about the structure. These ventures, they take a lot of money, a lot of structural discipline.
Yep.
You got a market cap right now of about 35 million. You got unrestricted stock under 14 million. So how committed are you guys to making sure the share structure stays intact?
So a couple of things. When we did the RTO, what sometimes doesn't get clearly identified is that required a certain amount of shares to be issued. So for us to have that 90-10 split, we have to issue the volume of shares that we did. And that's a good thing, certainly for the market. But because it was a restricted entity on OTC ID, we were aware that it's going to take us a little bit of time to kind of move it forward. So I think we've now cleaned up kind of the legacy that existed. We are going to, in the next little bit of time, we're just identifying a PCAOB auditor right now. And based on their timelines, we hope that certainly by the end of the year, we'll remove kind of all the restrictions that exist right now, so that will be a properly reporting entity, certainly by the end of the year.
Okay, so you're looking at SEC reporting by end of 2026.
Correct.
All right, that's excellent. Great, good stuff.
Always dependent on SEC and FINRA and all their lovely timelines.
I was just going to say.
Just for clarity, we have changed the name to PurMinds Enterprises, Inc., and that is with the state of Nevada registered correctly and properly. We're good standing there. We have made the application to FINRA to make the name change to PurMinds Enterprises, Inc. And for a symbol change, our SEC lawyer actually is in the process of doing that for us. I would hope in the next 30, 60 days, we'll have that approved and start to really change the messaging. What is always problematic in any of these changes is the legacy is kind of there, and to kind of transition away always takes a little bit longer than you anticipate. But our plan had always been to kind of support the current shareholders that are there, to give them value, and certainly with the new shareholders to really give them and to kind of make sure the vision is actually translated obviously on in the markets as well.
Great. I'm glad you went there because I did have it on my list of questions for you. And remember, company timelines and FINRA timelines always don't line up. We know how FINRA could be, but hey, this is great that you're doing that. So
in the end, it is about, I think, from a marketing point of view, you do understand that legacy exists. And so you just want to make sure that the messaging is consistent and clear and transparent. And transparency is an interesting word. People think of it to be a good word or bad word, but transparency just means you're opening up the common and allowing people to see certainly investors to see what you're trying to do.
Yeah, right on. I got to ask, as things roll out, Are you guys going to be adding to your board and advisory board?
Yeah, that's part of one of the other requirements that we kind of did as we did this. It was kind of a staged approach. Do the RTO, get it clean so that it's a point that we can get to becoming a reporting issuer, and then looking at our board from two perspectives, the board and the advisory board, to ensure that we have kind of the right people around us giving us the guidance and support that we need as we get into what we're trying to do as a business.
Excellent. Great. Now, I have to ask this question because it's on the minds of many traders and many people in the world. You guys are neuro-pharma focused. Could you see a crypto treasury being established in the near future, given the excellent progress that has been made with the upcoming crypto legislation?
I would say that we as a company are always forward thinking in what we're trying to do. We do look at what's going on. So our answer is yes. Somewhere down the road, yes, that would be something we'd be looking into.
That's awesome. That's great. All right. I want to talk a little bit about value creation and shareholder value. Let's put it that way. A lot of bio stocks, it's all about, it's heavily relies on these phase 3 trials, and there's not a lot of revenue and there's a lot of fundraising, and so a lot of times what happens in phase 3, nothing. And so what happens to shareholder value? It goes down. You guys have a different strategy, and because I've been watching your videos, and it's called multiple shots on goal.
That's actually, we should trademark that for Janet.
You should.
That is really her mindset, and was her mindset prior to my arrival. I think because I have kind of an operational background and have lived in both sides of the space, capital markets in terms of on one side of it, but also operational and launching some products. This multiple shots on goal is really the idea of, we do see what the markets happens. We have a lot of comparable companies that would say, oh my God, they're worth $500 million. But the only way that company can get to any true generation of revenue is sell a drug to big pharma. I think in our particular case, we have multiple shots on goal. We are at a place where we can create revenue. And in creating revenue, you're now giving the business kind of a support that normally doesn't exist. So if the economy does have a downturn and we have revenue, then the requirement to go to market has changed. Most of those companies need 500 million. Let's make this up. They need $50 million, but they really need $100 million. But they can only raise 50, get the 50, see what happens, and then potentially get the other $50 million. I think in our case, what we're saying is, if we need to raise 50, we raise 50. But if we're generating revenue, the burden on trying to raise that other 50 million has not necessarily removed itself, but diminished to a point where you can run through kind of turbulent times if you have to. And we are in interesting times right now. So I think you have to be really strategic in what you're trying to do. And that revenue is an opportunity for us to do that. The other part of it isn't just about value creation. It's about creating an entity, an operational company that has a life where it's not just valuation, but if we can get to a point where we're creating enough revenue and profitability, which is the other component of it, most companies talk about revenue. What we're going to talk about is revenue and EBITDA, so that we're having positive EBITDA, so that at some point the business could potentially start to give out dividends to its shareholders. So it's not just create value, and the only way a shareholder can exit to make money is to exit. It's to really give them an opportunity to stay with the business throughout its life cycle.
It makes sense. So you guys have a plan for short, medium, and long term.
Correct.
And is it safe to say that you guys will be revenue generating in the first half of this year?
I would always say Q2, Q3.
Okay.
Always, because we're just now into Q1, so time lags are always something you have to be very. And I, as a finance person, we always tend to be a little bit more conservative in our thought process. But I would suggest Q2, Q3 would be more than likely. Okay,
cool. Now, this is a remarkable facility, and we're going to do a little walkthrough in a little bit. How many square foot?
20,477 square feet.
Awesome. And how many, as things roll out, as you guys build, as PurMinds grows, how many employees are you going to have? And what's this facility going to be used for?
That's an interesting question. We get that. We've been asked that question a few times, and the answer is kind of twofold. It is a GMP facility, which is a good manufacturing process, which is required as part of governance for Health Canada, FDA, any of the kind of DEL licensing, all those things that you need to have when you're doing controlled substances. So I think research and development, certainly on the PurMinds side, we are not going to be the big research and development companies. That's not what we are. So this will house our scientists in our research and development, and it will also house our, for the DEL license, our medical device part of the business. And it's split. Probably half the space will be for drug development. The other half will be for we'll call it processing, but always on a small scale. We are very clear in that we're good. We know what we're good at, and we're good at partnering with those around us that will, have probably the expertise in the space that we don't necessarily want to be experts in. So it'll probably house I would suspect between 20 and 40 people.
Okay.
But the overall impact would be much more than that.
Okay. And I and I had a guest on the show, I forgot who it was, but they discussed how a lot of companies just burn through cash on R&D all the time. Just burn through cash.
Yep.
So you guys take it a little bit of an opposite approach is smart, especially after you guys talk about the multiple shots on goal and that short, medium, and long-term revenue creation. So I like what you're doing there.
Well, I think we've all gone through this. And so I'm certainly not saying that something that nobody's ever reviewed or looked at. Most businesses are really quite smart and know what they really need, but they also understand what the market is doing. And so you find you're creating a hybrid of really what you need. Most businesses can sit down and say to you, oh, I really need X amount of dollars, but I know the market will only support this based on that. And so I think for our perspective, I think we are trying to maybe be slightly disruptive in that thought process and actually do it in a different way to actually do it versus understand it. And so that's also the difference. I think one of the key things I would say, and certainly I'll give Jenna a lot of credit, is strategic thought process is quite normal across most businesses. The hardest part of any businesses is the execution of its strategic process or mindset. And in our case, I think we have the ability to actually execute what we're saying.
Excellent. I could say I've covered a lot of companies, and you guys are in the top echelon. Like, you guys have it together. And so it's great to be working with you.
Thank you.
Seriously.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, seriously. I want to ask another question about the versatility of this building. When it comes time for expanding, or if you have to expand, or is this a versatile building, would you say?
I think it's versatile for research and development in terms of navigating kind of those paths. If we wanted this to be a full production facility, I would say it's probably not. It's not that, again, because it's 20,000 square feet. The footprint is the footprint. And if you're getting into true manufacturing process, you're probably going to need anywhere between 50 and 60,000 square feet. But we're in a great location where I think we can actually get that for us. And then, if I look right across the street, I'm pretty sure there's 2 buildings that are available that would allow us to do that. I think for us, this is really meant to be, I wouldn't call it a hub of just research and development. There is flexibility, so we can support a substantive amount of revenue here. So I'll correct myself a little bit. It will create a substantive amount of revenue. But if we get to a point where it's exponentially beyond what the building can hold, then we certainly would move on to the next step. But this is a bit of a reverse engineering thought process. You don't go buy a 100,000 square foot building hoping that you can create the revenue. This will get us to a point where potentially we'll need a 100,000 square foot building. And so you've created revenue, you've created cash, and you have the ability to actually make the transition. It really is about being really smart with our funds. So the treasury aspect of what we're trying to do is really important.
Excellent. I do want to ask one more thing. I was talking with some people about PurMinds and the science and what you guys are setting out to do. And they're like, no way. I go, no, this is a real deal, especially in regards to SpectroChip. How long, I know this is, it's a crapshoot when talking about timelines, and I get that, but how long until people get to experience the SpectroChip and everything that it's able to do, and give you those quick results? Because what you guys are on the cusp of is something that is going to really bridge the gap between getting results and convenience. And so, what do you have to say about that?
I would say it's fairly imminent, and I would probably 3 to 6 months.
Wow.
In that time frame, maybe 3 to 6 is probably reasonable, because the reality is the product does exist. This isn't somebody's theory that they're trying to actualize. This is something that has been used, certainly in Taiwan. And I was fortunate enough to actually visit the facility and see what they're doing there as well, and the type of testing that they're doing. And so we are going to go certainly through the whole process with FDA. That's fine. And that's probably what adds a bit of the timeline. But the product itself does exist. It is, it is world changing. It's the idea of point of care and the 4Ps that Janet certainly speaks to. I think we're almost there. I think we are in a place where people want to be a little bit more in control of their healthcare or even just the knowledge of what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not necessarily the immediacy of it allows somebody to make more prudent decisions. The thing with healthcare we all go through, and certainly as I've gotten older, I realized this, is we get older, we want to be able to make decisions in real time. We're in a space where everything is real time. So that part of maybe the world hasn't changed, or the medical side of the world hasn't changed as much, that you can now allow people to make proper decisions. And if you're going through something, your ability to make a decision is important. And so this isn't just about creating a product that's going to be revolutionary and make millions of dollars. It's also about putting healthcare back in the hands of people. And I think, to me, that was one of the reasons I certainly joined PurMinds. But also when in dealing with SpectroChip, you start to see that, okay, there are other people that are thinking about bringing things back to the human beings in terms of controlling their health.
Wow. And we are in the age of information.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know how many doctors I know? I'm just saying. Self-proclaimed doctors.
Yes.
Some of you.
Yes.
You know who I'm talking about.
Well, we have a lot of self-diagnosis as well. That's okay.
Well, let's go for a walk in the facility and take a look.
Great.
Excellent. I'm here with Janet Chi, CEO of PurMinds. Janet, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming all the way.
So we're about to walk in the facility now, so let's get right to it and do it.
Yeah, come around. Here's our research lab and production facility. Come along. Here's the training room, supervisor's office, the purified water system. And then facility cleanup system right here. So the whole area is a GMP facility. It used to have a controlled substance license. Of course, we're waiting for a new license to be granted for this location for psilocybin production. Here's the mixing and the formulation room. So this facility mostly is for formulation and of all kinds of APIs and products. We're also going to use this facility for SpectroChips, diagnostic kits, and the medical devices. So there will be two purposes for this facility. One is for API production, also formulation of our own drug products. And the second use is really for the medical devices, including the testing kits, and also the medical device with the testing device for SpectroChip.
Well, this is a truly remarkable facility. This place is huge, much bigger than I thought it would be. I know I saw some pictures that you sent over, but this is a big facility. What does this mean? Why is this so significant for PurMinds and the SpectroChip partnership?
So understand that for SpectroChip and PurMinds, we have two parts of the business. One is the physics side of the company, which is the SpectroChip, and on the biopharma and pharma side of the business is really where PurMinds comes in, and we have to produce APIs for the solutions, and we also have where we're thinking of also supplying psilocybin for the world. We also want to produce the testing kits here. Of course, a lot of R&D will be happening here too. So this lab and the production space is mostly used for a research and development center, but also for the finalizing of the products. So some of the products will be produced here, and mostly the testing kits and also the products for biopharma drugs.
Excellent. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're now going to head over to the warehouse. I'll guide you through the hallway. Key important things. First aid room. We have a proper storage documentation, which is really important in GMP requirements. Obviously, washrooms. This would be the entrance into our hallway, entrance into the building. This is our IT room, should be. Nope, it's our water. This is a water filtration system. And this will be our IT room. And access into the warehouse again. Cage with vault, carmet, and loading dock, shipping, receiving, entrances in our proper process flow is done multiple ways. This would be kind of admin into warehouse. On the other side would be really how the GMP facility would work. Eric, thank you very much for coming. And I wanted to articulate one kind of last thing. There is a press release that's going to be issued sometime today that's going to put the September 30th, 2025 financial statements out. I want to be clear that those are really representative of PFSF only. It does not represent the RTO transaction that actually was finally completed November 3rd. And so it's important to kind of delineate between the two. Also, when you see the financial statements the next quarter, which would be due February 15th, they'll be much more representative of the operating entity, as well as the cap table will be fully cleaned up with all the kind of legacy information. Also, the pref shares will also obviously be cleaned up. So that will be much more representative of the operating entity, how much money has been raised, and really the go-forward model. At that point, we should have also picked a PCAOB auditor. And so I want certainly our investors and shareholders to understand that is really the next step they're going to see. But anyways, thank you for coming, and we look forward to going together.
Thank you so much for taking the time to give a fantastic tour, guys. The facility is excellent. What is your final message to shareholders and potential shareholders?
I think what I would say is thank you for being a shareholder. For those that are old existing shareholders, welcome to the PurMinds journey. For those who are now investing in us and those who have invested in us, what I would tell you is our journey is about not just creating value for the company, creating value for you, but to give you an opportunity to have part of a company that isn't just about shareholder valuation. It's about a company that has a mission in terms of doing good for humanity. I think that's really one of our key things. And bottom line, if you get value in the company and we can start to look at the business as an operational business to provide dividends somewhere down the road, I think that is really what will differentiate us from our like the so-called competitors. I don't like that word. I think we're all trying to do the same things. We just think we have a different path, one that I think we can execute certainly in a much more specific way. So thank you.
Excellent. Angelo Pizzuto, everybody, COO of PurMinds. Thank you so much.
Thank you.